Okay, well, welcome everyone. We have an awesome little crowd here tonight. And I asked what kind of simple changes are people making in their health already? Because they're going to get lots of good ideas tonight. And one of them, which I love, is walking after a meal. Thank you to Lynette on that. Drinking kombucha type of drinks with probiotics is another one from Tammy. And Jennifer Judd says salad in a jar for lunch, walking around the school building before school, overnight oats for breakfast. And then Melissa is including veggies with breakfast. I have incorporated aloe vera into my diet. That's my new simple change. My aloe vera plant is running out, but I'm scooping the inside flesh out and making a smoothie, a superfood smoothie, which is awesome with Perform, which you'll hear more about. So I'm feeling real good about that. It was suggested I'm also doing dry brushing, which the doctor can comment on if he wants to. That's for lymphatic drainage. I'm learning so much. And my name is Sharon Farrar. I've learned a lot through this community, the Juice Plus community. We're all about making simple changes to better health. A lot of our first changes for many of us are to take Juice Plus, which is fruits and vegetables in capsule or chewable form. You'll hear more about that. But also we encourage each other, and we like to say iron sharpens iron. Through this community, we learn a lot from each other. And so I'm happy that Melissa has brought her special guest on, which I'll let her introduce. And we're going to learn a lot from him and a lot from her. And then I'll be back to close this out. So go ahead, Melissa.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Sharon. So my name's Melissa Hetrick, and I wanted to bring my friend Dr. Joe Polchinski on here tonight. He is the owner of Flylow Chiropractic and Rehabilitation. And before we started the Zoom tonight, we were talking about we actually connected through a fellow healthcare professional, but I really was captured by his Instagram videos. I was like, these are so cool. I love what you're doing. So I went in for a session and he's going to tell you what he does, but I was so impressed with a chiropractor that didn't just want to like be like and like crack my neck and like make me scream and wiggle your toes so you're not paying attention. And it was an all-inclusive approach, and we also connected because he's someone who's interested in health and wellness, whole foods, the whole body effects. So he's going to share a lot of that with you. And then I will come back and share some more. So I will hand it over to you, Joe, and we're really excited.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Melissa, for the kind words. Let me share my screen here for a second. So give me 1 second. There we go here. Boom. So everyone should be able to see that then, right? Perfect. Okay. So like Melissa said, I'm a chiropractor. Okay. So I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about how to move better, how to feel better through movement. And Melissa's going to cover a lot of the fuel and fuel part of it. Okay. So let me go here. Boom. Perfect. So I'm Joe Polchinski, DC. Okay. A little bit about my story. I've always kind of been a athlete. I played many sports growing up, been in different rehab rooms and rehab settings throughout my whole entire life. Played college basketball. I still like to play a little bit. It's not the same, but I still try. And during that time period of my life, I developed a big interest and love for the body and taking care of yourself and understanding how you move and how you function. Through that, I decided I wanted to do something in the healthcare realm. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go be a physician's assistant because you're a doctor without being a doctor. I realized quickly that that wasn't the path for me. I didn't really enjoy the idea of taking care of sick people all the time. I wanted to do something a little bit more hands-on, kind of like what I saw in the rehab rooms through my college basketball days. So I had a really good experience with a chiropractor one day, and one thing led to another. I moved down to Florida and started my chiropractic journey. Um, while I was down in Florida, you kind of learn a lot about the profession, and you learn a lot about what you like and what you don't like. during my time down there, I discovered a group of people who call themselves rehab chiropractors. And they used a lot of different modalities and techniques, not just the adjustment, kind of like Melissa said in her intro. So I really, really liked that way of thinking because it was a combination of physical therapy meets chiropractic. And I was like, that seems like a pretty good way to do things, right? Kill two birds with one stone. So once I graduated school, after 3.5 long years, and they were long years, I opened up my own practice, Fly Low Chiropractic and Rehabilitation. And my practice, like Melissa said, it's not your traditional chiropractic office. I focus a lot on movement, analyze how your body moves and how that is contributing to your pain, not just your spinal health, right? So the health of your spine is really important, but the movement is also important, if not more important, as you'll kind of see as I get into it, right? Just a little background about my office. I do one-on-one appointments. So I'm the only person you see the whole time you're there. I spend an hour long with you. So I spend anywhere from 4 to 12 times as much time than your traditional chiro. So it's not just your normal 5-minute rack and crack, see you next week or later this week, right? It's a little bit more all-inclusive. It's movement focused. Melissa can vouch that we looked at a bunch of different things with her and kind of saw how her body moved, and we developed a little bit of a treatment style based around that. So that's kind of how Fly Low Chiro operates. Let's go next here. So some of you might be thinking, why is a chiropractor talking about ways to move, right? So I'll tell you kind of what I mentioned before. Traditional chiropractors have basically advised patients to stop moving when injured. Some of you might have had that type of experience in the past where you've gone to a healthcare provider, even your primary doctor, and they've told you, hey, you're hurt, don't move, rest. I'm here to tell you that that is not the case, that you should do the exact opposite of that. There are plenty of research studies out there and professionals out there that suggest exactly the opposite. So stopping moving is almost never the answer. Now, if you have a really bad like knee injury, maybe movement in the moment isn't great. But for most people, movement is the answer. So the answer, developing some type of care plan that allows you to start or continue moving through your injury. And that could be so simple as changing the amount, the cadence, the time, the rep, the sets, whatever the variable in your movement strategy is. So if you're walking, it could be the amount of walking that you do. If you're gardening, it could be the amount of gardening that you do. If you sit in an office chair and write emails all day, the amount of sitting in your office chair that you're doing. So there's different ways to look at movement and how we can affect your daily movement, right? One of my favorite quotes is an object in motion stays in motion. So take it, a body in motion stays in motion. The more you can move now, the better you're going to be when you're older. So you're only this age once, and then it only gets worse from here. So the more you move now, the better you are as you get older. Okay. So this slide, I just want to talk about something quick because I'm going to talk about movements and simple strategies that you can do to increase your movement in a daily basis. Because at my office, I do a lot of movement, try to find ways to help patients move pain-free is basically what I do. So some common things when we start moving is pain, right? Pain's inevitable. You're going to have pain with almost everything that you do at some point in your life, right? So ways that pain comes about. One of them is you're doing too much, too soon, too fast. So kind of like that image of that guy deadlifting there. He's probably doing a little bit too much, too soon, too fast. Okay. So think about your weekend warrior type person. If you have never went out and, or think about, yeah, your weekend warrior. Think about if you're going out and you're running a 5K, you're doing gardening, you're going to drive 4 hours to vacation, you're whatever, you're doing a bunch, right? You're probably doing too much for your body's capacity. Okay, so that's one way that movement can affect pain. The other is not doing enough. So think about your desk workers if you are sedentary for life. And then you decide one day that, hey, I'm going to go out and start running a 5K. If you've never run a 5K before, you're probably going to run into some issues. Not everybody, but some people. So the purpose of this slide is to remember when you're starting to implement movement into your life to progress at your speed. Um, if you have an athletic background, you might be able to progress a little bit faster than someone who didn't. So it's really important that you progress at your own speed. Okay. One of the simplest ways to progress or to implement movement into your life is to increase your step count. You probably have heard this from a dozen other healthcare providers in your time, right? But it's so true. Increasing your step count leads to so many great things. A really, really good study, a meta-analysis in 2023, looked at the correlation between daily steps and your cardiovascular health and mortality. And basically, it said the more steps you take, the lower your mortality rate is. There was a significant increase in longevity over 4,000 steps, all the way up to about 12,000 a day. 4,000 steps, believe it or not, is the average steps that an American takes. So if you're above that, great. If you're not, maybe you have some work to do. Basically, every 500 steps on average was a 7% decrease in cardiovascular mortality. That's a lot if you really think about what 500 steps actually is. 500 steps is probably down to the end of your block and back maybe twice, depending on how big your block is. 1,000 steps, 15% decrease in overall mortality rate. So that study, sometimes people look at that and they go, oh, step count is, you got to start step walking more. It's just a correlation. So sometimes if you're healthy already, you have a higher step count, right? If you're not as healthy, you might have a lower step count. It could be reverse. You could be unhealthy and have a lot of steps in your day. So correlation doesn't always lead to causation, but science tells you to start moving your feet a little bit more. Okay. Simple ways to start doing that. You can set a daily or a weekly goal. Okay. Daily goal. A lot of times when we talk about steps, everyone goes, oh, you should hit 10,000 steps a day. Okay. That might be hard for some people. If you got kids, a job, work, whatever. Okay. So I like to look at it on a weekly total, right? So if you want to take, let's just say 5,000 steps a day times 7, that's 35,000 steps total. Look at it from a weekly goal instead of a daily goal. If you hit 12,000 steps one day because you were out and about doing shopping or whatnot, right? Great. If one day you're sick and you're on the couch and you only do 4, great, right? You just did 14, 16,000 total in 2 days, right? So I like to think of it as looking at more as a weekly goal rather than just looking at as a daily goal. It's kind of a simpler way to think about it sometimes. Okay. So another thing, simple strategy that we can all implement is developing a daily movement, stretch, exercise routine, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Simple things that you can do that are appropriate, repeatable, and fun. Okay. By appropriate, I mean appropriate for you. If you have pain with certain movements, maybe not do those movements as much. If you have trouble walking long distances, maybe take the cadence back, maybe take the distance back. So something that's appropriate for you. Repeatable, make sure the exercises and movements are repeatable. If you can only do 5 pull-ups, maybe not do pull-ups every day because you're not going to be able to do them every day. Pick something that is repeatable for you. And then fun. If you're doing movements and they're not fun, then what's the point? If they're fun, you have way more of a chance of doing them on a consistent daily basis, right? Um, and then one more thing, there's no right or wrong movements. If you like to squat, then do a lot of squats. If you like to swim, go swimming every day. Um, of course, there are certain things that might be more optimal to certain people, but for the most part, movement is movement. A body in motion stays in motion. Okay, so the next couple of slides, I'm just going to go over some simple movement ideas for the average person. Okay, I'm going to talk through a lot of these slides. These are all movements that you've heard of or probably done in your lifetime. And I'm just going to talk through ways you can change them and the variables that you can touch on. Okay, so first one, squats. Very, very important movement in life. Everyone squats on a daily basis, whether you think so or not. If you go to the bathroom once a day, you're squatting. If you're getting up from a chair, you're squatting. So a really important movement to get good at over your lifetime. On the one side of the screen, you have body weight squats. Okay, so something as simple as just using your weight and squatting. And then on the other side, you have Dwayne the Rock Johnson doing some crazy, looks like it's a trap bar squat. Okay, so squats can look very different. If a body weight squat's really difficult for you, grab a chair, do a box squat, squat to the box, come back up, or hold on to the chair, squat down while holding on to the chair, maybe out in front of you. That way it can help take a little bit of pressure off your joints. Okay. If that's too easy, then add some weight, add a band, add some elevation. Bunch of different ways you can kind of change it up. Okay. Next one, lunges. Okay. Same thing, body weight lunges versus weighted lunges. You're going to see a theme with Dwayne the Rock Johnson here. So something as simple as a stationary lunge could be accessible. It could be appropriate for you. If not, grab a chair, grab a box, grab a foam pad. Only go so low. Stuff like that. Change the distance, the cadence, the timing. Um, you don't have to do the exact movement. You can edit it to fit your lifestyle, fit your needs. Or if you're trying to be like Dwayne the Rock Johnson and have those missile legs, then go ahead and do some weighted chains lunges then. Another one, push up. Simple movement we probably all heard of before, right? Really good for upper body strength and conditioning, okay? On the one side, you have body weight and assisted, okay? So from your knees and pushing up, right? And on the one side, you have the rock doing normal push-ups, okay? These are variable as well. You can add a band. You can add a block underneath your chest, so maybe you don't go as far. You can add weight on your back if they're too easy. You can do them from an elevated surface. So um, if you can't do a normal push-up off the ground, you can use a wall. Bring your feet a little bit farther away from the wall. Push against the wall. If you have a decline, use the decline so it decreases the amount of flatness that you're at, okay? Bunch of different things you can try. And then the scariest one of all, deadlifting, okay? A common thing that I have in my office is I try to get all my patients with low back pain to start deadlifting. You might have heard at some point in your life that deadlifting is very scary and dangerous. It can be if you're doing what the guy lifting the red weights off the ground is doing and you've never done it before. So that's why it's important to make sure you're not doing something too soon, too fast, or deadlifting can be really scary. If you think about what a deadlift is, it's just picking something up off the ground. So when you put your socks on in the morning, tie your shoes, drop your wallet, pick up your cat off the ground, any of those, right? That's a deadlift. So working on that movement on a daily basis is really important because as you get older, you're going to have to pick stuff off the ground, right? Even when you're younger, you pick stuff up off the ground. So on the one side, you have a guy just doing a body weight deadlift with no weight. And on the other side, you have a guy doing that looks to be about 700 pounds of weight. So it can be very variable based on what you have. A really easy way I like to progress this exercise, deadlift, is put like a water bottle or a weight on like a bench or an elevated surface. Bend over and pick that up. If that's easy, drop the surface down even farther. Bend over and pick it up. If you can do that, go all the way down to the floor. Bend over and try to pick it up. Progressing at your speed is super important when you're adding these movements into your lifestyle. Okay. So now I'm going to do a quick movement idea demo. Okay. So before I do that, all those movements I just did, the squat, the lunge, the push-up, the deadlift, there's 1,000 other movements you can do in your daily routine. The main thing that I wanted to share with those is that you can change those movements to whatever you need them to be, right? You don't have to do a perfect squat. It can be a half squat. You don't have to do a perfect push-up. It could be an assisted push-up from your knees, right? Movement is based on what you need and for your goals, okay? So now I'm going to show you a little bit of a chair movement demo that I've given this to patients at my office, and then I work at another office, just to break up the monotony of sitting all day. If you're an office worker and you're sitting at a computer like this for multiple hours a day, this could be something that really helps you, okay? So one of the first things I tell people is when you're sitting in a chair, okay, sit nice and tall and let's do some flexion and extension. So the first thing, I would reach up to the sky, touch the ceiling if you can, come all the way down and touch the floor, okay? Doing reps like that where you reach up, touch the sky, look up at the sky, and then bend over and touch the floor, okay? Again, that can be changed. If you can't bend over all the way, just bend to your knees. If you can't reach all the way up to the sky, just reach your hands above your head. Whatever's easiest for you, okay? Rotation. I like to put my arms by my side, and I just like to rotate as far as I can one direction. And then rotate as far as you can the other direction. Okay? Simple enough. Last thing, lateral bend. Sitting in your chair, reaching one arm overhead, touch the ground with your other arm. Reach overhead, touch the ground with your other arm. Okay? So something simple like that. We just did 6 different motions, and I can bet you probably are feeling a little something somewhere, right? So doing that every half hour, every hour, a couple times a day, even though it's simple, it does make a difference, right? Those simple little changes in your daily routine make a huge difference. Okay, so in summary, if you're having pain with movement or moving at all, find a movement-based professional that can help guide you. I don't know if we have any local people here, but if you're local, I would be more than happy to help you out. So please pick me. If you start moving more on a daily/weekly basis, right? The reason why, because science says so. Plenty of articles out there that say the more you move, the longer you last. So why not start moving, right? And then the last thing, develop a movement routine, right? Something that is easily repeatable, appropriate for what you have going on, and fun. If it's not fun, you're probably not going to do it, right? Okay. That's about what I had for my presentation. I mostly focused on more of the movement-based aspects of all of this stuff. Simple things you can add to your daily routine as far as movement. Melissa's going to talk more about the nutritional side and give you all the Juice Plus stuff. So I'm going to turn the presentation back over to her.
Thank you so much. And if anybody needs that information, we will get it to you if you didn't have a chance to get a screenshot. So
How
we'll
do I unshare that?
there should be a button that says unshare.
Stop sharing. There we
There
go.
we go. That's what I meant. All right. All right, guys, thanks for hanging in. I hope you found that information helpful. I thought it was fantastic, and I love the stretches. I just I happen to be on a high chair, and that did not work for me. But I can still feel it in my sides for sure. So let's see. Let me just get these up. Okay, can we see that? All right. Now I always lose my mouse. Oop. This is where we get funky here. Hold on one sec. So I'll introduce myself while I get the slides ready here. There we go. So my name is Melissa Hetrick. I am a pharmacist and a lifestyle medicine advocate. And I really wanted to do this talk because I like I said, I saw the value in what Joe was doing, and I love connecting with other healthcare professionals that share the same ideals that I do. So let's just get me off the screen here so I can see my slides. So why did I want to do this? So that is why, and I really appreciate this was a fantastic presentation, and we can see how chiropractic care, movement, and fueling ourselves with proper food is really going to help us thrive and stay strong. So why does it matter to do all this? Why does it matter to have integration? So nutrition fuels our body, and together with chiropractic care, nutrition, exercise, we can improve energy, focus, resilience, and maybe then we only need to go back for symptom management, and we can create a sustainable lifestyle. So I started by introducing myself. I'm so sorry. So a couple of years ago, I was a classic hospital pharmacist, managing medications, managing patients' treatment, and I just got tired of it. And now I focus on prevention of disease through whole foods as my basis. And I really want to help people feel better and get back to balance and restore their confidence through simple, sustainable routines. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So what does good health look like to you? Is it more exercise, like Joe talked about? Is it drinking more water, healthier eating, sleeping better? Why do these things matter? Well, hydration supports our digestion, nutrient absorption, detoxification, joint lubrication, so you can move better. And inflammation, how do we get inflammation? Well, one of the biggest ways is our diet. So through things like processed food, sugar, fats. Chronic inflammation, we'll talk a little later, is the basis of a lot of debilitating diseases. So from arthritis to heart care, not exactly heart care, but inflammation is there. So on the flip side, anti-inflammatory foods like leafy greens, berries, healthy fats like salmon, those things are good for us. Let's see. Perfect. So we know that eating a diet rich in fruits and vegetables is important for a good path to health. And the USDA tells us to fill half our plate with fruits and vegetables. Now, while that's all well and good, there's a little problem because the produce we buy in the store, I'm never going to tell you not to buy it, but it's not nutrient. It's a little nutritionally deficient. Why? Because our soil is nutritionally deficient and the food is traveling maybe from across the country. Maybe it's picked when it's not ripe. So you're getting, like when you get green bananas, they're not giving you as much as if you picked a banana right off the tree when it was ripe. So we want to go for whole foods when we're filling our plate, fruits and veggies, and fill it with whole foods. So whole foods are things in their natural form. So like fruits, veggies, legumes, whole grains. Whole grains would be things like barley, brown rice, quinoa, millet. And these are packed with vitamins, minerals, fiber, phytonutrients. And phytonutrients are nutrients we get from plants. So, sorry, heard a cat running around. So what we're going to help you do tonight is really jumpstart your health by finding the right place to start, because we understand that it's difficult to sometimes find where to begin to make your diet better, where to begin to start feeling better. So we want to help you create manageable goals, because starting small can eventually lead to better health down the road. So I grabbed a couple of research studies, and I'll apologize for the bright pink slide. But so some of these studies here. So in 2017, Nutrients ran a study, the effects of encapsulated fruit and vegetable juice concentrate on obesity-induced systemic inflammation. So the active group in this study showed significant reduction in systemic markers of inflammation. So I picked these 3 studies because I thought they correlated well with what Dr. Joe was talking about: movement, strength, exercise, getting your body feeling great, and putting everything where it's supposed to be. And inflammation is a big part of obesity. If we can reduce inflammation, we can help improve lean body mass. In 2021, in microorganisms, the impact of dried fruit and veggie supplements and fiber-rich shake on gut and health parameters in female healthcare workers. Now, I love how this study talks right in the beginning. It's placebo-controlled, double-blind, randomized. What does that mean? Placebo-controlled means literally they took a product and they took a pill or whatever that had nothing in it. Double blind means nobody knew what was happening. If I was the researcher and Sharon was the patient, neither of us knew who was getting what. And randomized means they put it into a computer and decide who's getting what. So what was the conclusion of the studies? So the dried fruit and veggie supplements, along with a fiber-rich shake, positively influenced the gut health. And the active group in this study showed significant improvement in gut health markers and reported better overall health and well-being. And I believe this was a study that showed an improved glucose clearance. So if you're clearing your glucose, your blood sugar is staying level, which is great. And then in medicine and science and sports and exercise in, I think it says 2006. Sorry, my face, I'm not going to mess with the slides, but my face is over the slide. They compared 3 different groups. So placebo, encapsulated fruits and veggies, and vitamin C and E supplements. And what they found that these antioxidants may help protect the body from potential damage caused by free radicals produced during exercise. So they measured like 3 or 4 different oxidative actions that would happen when you exercise. And they found that this really helped. We want to protect our body from free radicals. That's how we get some damage inside of our bodies. I'm advancing my own slides. Here we go. There we go. So why am I bringing this up? Well, this is my health hack, something called Juice Plus, which Sharon talked about a little bit in the beginning. Guys, bear with me. I'm real sorry. So Juice Plus helps add what's missing in your diet with whole food nutrition every day. And why I started with Juice Plus, there we go, is I was looking to be healthier. A couple years ago, my husband and I were going through fertility treatments. And this was something I added in along with a bunch of other steps. I knew it was something that would help me be healthier. And I was doing other things like yoga, acupuncture, dietary changes. And what really struck me with this product was, as a pharmacist, now remember I was a pharmacist here, the studies we showed on these products, and they really just, it blew my mind. Like, this is what I spent 6 years getting a doctorate for, to study randomized, placebo-controlled, double-blind studies. And I really started to understand the importance of nutrition. And if my sister's still on here, she can tell you, I was terrible in the beginning. I was terrible. I could not form a habit. She'd call me, tell me my products were ready to ship. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'd have to whip out my pharmacist calculator and figure it out. But after a while, I realized I felt better. Not only was this backed by science, it was backed by my experience. So I started in my 30s, and I could never go to the bathroom. And that's not normal. And I grew up knowing that wasn't normal, because that's the doctor's office my mom worked in. So I'm taking supplements so I can be regular. But then my face was clearer than it had been. And even now people are like, wait, you're how old? And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And so that, it gave me that kind of youthful glow. And also the other thing, energy. I don't need caffeine, and I don't need an afternoon burst of coffee. And that's really what sold me with this. And what really did it for me is this community. And Sharon will share a little bit about that. And she shared a little bit in the beginning. And I just began sharing this with other people because I couldn't keep it to myself. And I really, really loved it. So let's see. All right, so some of the clinical research. So Juice Plus is supported by more than 40 independent peer-reviewed scientific publications, conducting at leading universities around the world. And it's mostly done on the essential capsules, which we'll just see a photo of in a little bit. So leading healthcare professionals recommend this in their homes, their patients, their colleagues, because of things like bioavailability, supporting immune function, providing antioxidant protection, decreasing biomarkers of inflammation. We already touched on that. Improving key cognitive processes, supporting healthy skin, supporting dental health, cardiovascular health, lung function. Also helps us with exercise, metabolic health, reduce exercise-induced oxidation, gut health, and increase omega-3s. Hold on one sec. And where we can show that Juice Plus is correlated with many of these results, everybody's story is different. And we're not here to tell you it's intended to cure or treat a disease, but we can tell you what we found and what it's done for us and our families. So the Juice Plus essentials include capsules and gummies. And they offer the next best thing to fruits and vegetables, along with plant-based omega fatty acids, which are vegan. And their blended starts with real farm fresh nutrition. And in addition to the Juice Plus chewables are ideal for children and those who don't like to swallow capsules. And we won't really be touching on it tonight, but kids can eat for free. So find out about that from whoever invited you. So my new BFF right now is something called superfood powder. Superfood powder. We can say that this is backed by over 40 clinical studies and nearly 30 years of research because it is simply our capsules put into a drink mix. You can see the little packet on the slide there. All you do is grab this, drop it in your water, mix it up, and you're ready to go. And you've just taken 30 fruits, veggies, and berries. And not only that, it tastes amazing. It makes you feel great. And it's so easy because it's really hard to eat well and be consistent. Think about how busy we are. You might have invited people to come on this event and they're like, no, I can't, nope. And, we don't have time to make fresh food. We don't have time to grocery shop for fresh food. We're running around. Maybe your mom traumatized you with Brussels sprouts when you were young and you're like, no way, I can't do it. And there are a lot of reasons. And this really clicks all the easy buttons. It's vegan, it's gluten-free, there's no sugar, it's certified kosher, made without GMO ingredients. Our farms do not have GMO ingredients ever on them. And if you're wondering what the hey is a superfood, so superfood is something packed with antioxidants, polyphenols, carotenoids, phytonutrients, and it is just like a nutrient-packed food. So again, like your berries, your grains, leafy greens. And the cost of better health, I wanted to keep this slide in here because I get this objection a lot, and I'm just being completely honest here. But Juice Plus can easily fit into your budget. And, Jen and I, my sister's on here, we were raised by a single mom, and we learned how to be thrifty. We learned how to live on a budget. But you start to realize what's really important, and our health is really important, and that makes a difference. So I just want to point out here, so taking Juice Plus essential capsules every day costs less than a cup of coffee. That's even like McDonald's coffee. Taking a daily servings of chewables costs about as much as a bag of chips. And drinking a shake costs roughly as much as a fast food breakfast sandwich. Now, I would argue to say all of those things you're buying in a store are actually way more expensive than Juice Plus. So, speaking of shakes, this is where I really wanted to touch tonight because of having Dr. Joe on here with us. Perform. When you fuel your body with proper nutrition, you can have great feeling. You can feel great. You can perform at your best. And Juice Plus Perform is a shake that works as hard as you do. So what I think is really neat, I just want to pull up some really good points I pulled up about Perform. What I love about Perform and about Juice Plus. So you see on this slide, it says beetroot and tart cherry aid in recovery. The scientists and the people behind Juice Plus, they go in and they're like, wait a minute, I know what beetroot does. I'm going to put that in a product. I know what tart cherry does. And like, these are things not hundreds of years ago, 100 years ago, like when my Grammy was growing up, she knew what food she could pick on a farm or buy at a store that was filled with nutrition and what it did for her body. And that's what they do here in this community. So our ingredients are sourced from real food. There's no harmful ingredients. And Perform has vitamin D, vitamin C, B vitamins from guava, mango, and lemon for mental performance. It has 25 grams of a plant-based protein. It is vegan, gluten-free again, and it has proteins for muscle, mental focus, plant-based amino acids, and it supports muscle growth and recovery. And I really just love that about Perform. So whether you're crushing a workout or just powering through your day, like we talked about earlier, this is a great addition to your day. We can't go without mentioning our favorite shake, the Complete Shake. Why is it called Complete? Because it has a balance of macronutrients, fruits, veggies, whole grains. And what its best thing that it does is it has a low glycemic index, which means that your blood sugar stays like this and it stays stable. So you're not having those ups and downs. So this is a great thing to grab on the go in the morning. We make overnight oats and put a little bit of complete in our shakes, in our oats. And again, this is a water washed plant-based soy, and it contains other ancient grains as well. Now, we've talked a lot about our bodies feeling good. What if your mind could feel good and it could operate at its clearest? Your brain is one of your body's most powerful organs. And this month, we're celebrating an anniversary of 1 year having this amazing product. And I know Sharon's going to touch on this too, because this is her fave. So what is Luminate? Luminate is adaptogens and nootropics. What the heck are either of those? I'm going to focus on adaptogens. So adaptogens are things that you can put in your body that help your adrenal glands adapt to stress. And if you were on in the beginning and you heard Joe ask me about the wood chips in my mulch, I just got mulch done this weekend, decided to splurge and pay for it. And then my neighbor cut down her trees and there's all this dust in my mulch. And I was like, no. And I wanted to freak out. And I thought, I'm going to go take Illuminate because you can't drink wine in the middle of the day unless you're on vacation. So it is designed to help calm your system, calm your brain so you have mental focus, clarity. It is just like this little layer of sustained energy that you don't even notice. And if you see on the right, you can see an independent study was done, just a population study with before Luminate came out. People did not know what they were drinking, and you can see the results of what they felt. So 94% felt they were able to finish or achieve more tasks. 89% felt they had more focus and clear perception. And it has very low calories, made without GMO, synthetic flavors, or additives again. And the cool thing is it is made with the coffee berry rather than the coffee bean. And that allows you to not get that like burst of caffeine. So I think Sharon's going to wrap it up for us. And I just wanted to say thank you for everybody who came on, Dr. Joe for joining us and sharing. Again, if you have been to a chiropractor, you haven't been to a chiropractor. If you haven't been to a chiropractor, that's great. Maybe you're doing great, but maybe you do want to go see one to continue to feel great because you never know what's out of alignment. And that I can say that with chiropractic care as well as Juice Plus, sometimes you don't know that you don't feel good. Go for an explorative session, check it out, build some muscle, get some new exercises, and help yourself feel great. So my question for you before I close it out is, what would it take and what would it do for you to really feel your best every single day? All right, let's stop the share. Sharon, I don't know why I lose my
Okay,
mouse.
don't worry. That is a hard act to follow, you guys. So here, I'm stopping your sharing.
Thank you.
I absolutely love Dr. Joe's presentation. Thank you. I am somebody who does go to the chiropractor a lot as part of wellness. I love going to the chiropractic because I also do a lot of motion, whether it's racquetball or pickleball or just being crazy, going and weeding and gardening or whatever. We in our community of Juice Plus, we teach people to live life to the fullest, to have optimal health. So we're trying to push it where, like Melissa's saying, we are living our best lives. And I've got my mother-in-law here right now. I'm like, do you want to hear Dr. Joe talk about motion? Can I say how old you are? 84. I didn't have to say it. So she's 84 and she is a Juice Plus queen. Okay. And she takes her steps up our 2-story house. And I'm like, oh, good, you're getting more steps, and she tries to get out and she goes to the gym, believe it or not. And so don't you want that as you get older to not have to be part of the medical system unless you really, really need it in an emergency, but not as a daily routine. So you have to invest in wellness. And whether that's the discipline of your time or the discipline of your habits or the discipline of your money, the investment of your money. I love that I'm able to buy my Juice Plus groceries. Like Melissa said, Luminate's my favorite. It absolutely is, but so is Complete. So is the superfood powders combined with the Perform right now. And I didn't even like the Perform when it came out. But what happens is you play around with these products and you actually slow down the aging process. So I'm 59 now. I discovered Juice Plus 25 years ago. And what we found with the research connected to, real world is every day we're standing in front of an x-ray machine. If we don't have enough fruits and vegetables, we're supposed to have 9 to 13 servings every day as people, 7 for children, that's fine, 9 to 13 for adults. And if not, we have oxidative stress where it's hitting on our good cells, 10,000 oxidative hits a day, whether it's your brain cells, your skin cells, or whatever types of cells. You need less oxidative stress. And then if you have less oxidative stress, you have less DNA strand breakage, which is what it shows in our research. So you want to have something that's going to be a daily practice to give you that concentrated nutrition. So Juice Plus is an easy way. Now we have the capsules, we have the gummy chewables, which also can be free for children, or adults love them too. And now we have the superfood blend, which my husband loves to just put in water, but I'm a little more high maintenance. And like I said, I'm now including aloe vera pulp or whatever you want to call that. And so I'm making it with the superfood powders and the Perform, which I didn't even like the taste, but if I do that, it tastes more like Jamba Juice. It's actually kind of good. I add frozen fruit. So, and she lives off the Perform.
Yeah.
Because of the protein, the higher protein, the less carbs, right?
Yeah.
We like that. And so she loves that. And she was a type 2 diabetic, and now
Perfectly normal.
now she's not. So, those are the types of things you can do for your own health, but you have to make those investments. You have to take the time to do it. And I do love the seated exercises from Dr. Joe, the movement. I feel like Dr. Joe, awesome that you're an athlete who played basketball in college. I mean, that's like superstar. Because with injuries and having to take care of your body, a lot just from that. And then integrating like more of a physical therapist and personal trainer aspect along with chiropractic, along with all the things that he's integrating. I think that's really, really good. And the fact that he spends that much time for your health, that's awesome. And I love that Melissa talked about inflammation. Inflammation is correlated with disease. You want to reduce systemic inflammation, and that's from an anti-inflammatory diet. And you can look that up on the internet, totally in line with all of our Juice Plus products and what we recommend. We have a healthy group that you can join. It's called Simple Changes to Better Health. Melissa can put you in there, or different people on here have different groups probably. But think of it as a paradigm shift. You might not think about how much do I spend on kale, beets, broccoli, spinach, cranberry, parsley, things like that. Or maybe you don't spend that much on fruits and vegetables, but you need to. That's going to help keep you out of the doctor's office. And so that investment, and the smallest package of Juice Plus does a lot. There's a lot of research on just the fruits and vegetables. The 20 fruits and vegetables is $54 a month. I mean, it's not that much. And then you could get a child free for just $3 more a month. And that's like 25 each. So it's very economical. And then we, of course, recommend the berry blend, which is great for circulation, great for heart. And they found that, eating a high fat meal, a lot of us are exposed to a high fat meal. And we can't necessarily take people out of the high fat meal, but we can help reduce the problems that come along with that, which is the constriction of the arteries and things like that, which Juice Plus has been shown to help with. So there's just so much. And I just want to encourage you to explore it. For me, I used to be super run down. I'd go to her house. Doug and I have been married like 30 something years. I'd go to her house. She had 5 cats. And what would you hand me? Do you remember?
Oh, any kind of cold medicine I could find in the medicine cabinet.
I had major allergies. She'd hand me the Kleenex box. My nose would be bleeding by the time we were done playing cards. So, you know, I used to have major allergies. I used to be super drained, not have a lot of vitality. I used to have bumps on the backs of my arms, tops of my legs, and just your body needs that nutrition. It's hungering for it. So keep your body moving and get your good nutrition and think about how can I get all the Juice Plus groceries that I want. Maybe you want to partner with the company. It's only $52 to recommend Juice Plus, have it all for yourself, and also get your favorite people on Juice Plus as well, because it's going to make a big difference in their life. Hope you enjoyed tonight. We'll say goodbye for now. And if you need to ask any questions of the doctor or Melissa or me, just reach out. We are available and you guys know how to get in touch with us.
Thank you.
Okay, whoop.